You can cancel me, but I'm coming back. You can cancel me, but I'm coming back.
If you have the opportunity to come back, you're not canceled. Holy fuck.
You can cancel me if you want, but I won't be canceled.
You can, yeah.
What?
Hey, you can silence me, but I'm gonna keep speaking.
Excuse me?
What?
You can suspend me, but I'm coming back. And I'm going to say the same thing over and over and over again as loud as I can until somebody hears it.
It's the Casey and Zoe thing.
Do we want to do this one?
Sure.
All right, cool. All right, let's see what they have
And it's
to
interesting
say.
to me that Samantha B is
Unapologetic
covering PragerU. Because I think that's one of the first, like, sort of mainstream media acknowledgments I've seen of that, like, generally doesn't get talked about much on
in like
cable
more mainstream
news and
media,
stuff.
yeah.
And, but I'm glad. What the heck? Shut up, robo-caller, you fuck. Okay.
Anyway, back to the show.
I apologize. We went live at 3 o'clock like we were supposed to, and then we're having some technical difficulties. But we find our way through. We always
Wait, Prager, are you having technical difficulties? Astonishing.
We can also need to take a moment to appreciate the production design here. So, a furry cube.
Let's talk about
this set.
Before we get into the deep
Before we
dive.
get into the ideologies and not the values, certainly.
No values.
Okay, so we've got a furry cube with like an electric guitar on top. I'm guessing this is supposed to communicate like cool.
Yeah. I'm like
This is a
imagining
cool
like a
room.
bro hangout with like a beanie bag. But then you have the statue next to it with a gold stripe over the eyes. Okay.
I mean, this would all line up more if she was like sitting in one of those chairs shaped like a hand. I feel like it would all, like it would really tie the whole room together.
Yeah, for sure.
And then on the shelf, we've got a silver panther. We've got a giant knight chess piece.
I wish I could see what those books were. That looks kind of like the Marvel logo.
It
right?
does. They're all hardcore pornography.
It's you know what? We're saying it here.
They're all books on golden showers. And then a couple cacti.
Yeah.
And then what's the little thing in the bottom right?
This is just a feather, Casey. That's not a cacti.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is
Thank
a
you.
feather in a bowl.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I really thought that was a cactus.
No,
that
only
is a feather,
it's a
in,
feather
a
in a bowl. And then a piece of art that looks sort of like a person.
Yeah, I don't. That one we probably can't figure out from this distance.
And then the off-center apologetic live, with the live also being off-center.
Well, yeah. What happened there? Why
it's just all not aesthetically pleasing. I'll say.
Why isn't the look? Because this looks like a projection screen behind her.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right.
So why isn't? I mean, I get like they probably don't want it right in the middle.
Yeah, so
then
they want it like off to the side. But why isn't the live?
And the C is so close to the shelf, it's very.
Yeah. All right. So.
It's just bad composition.
So based the hand share.
Hand share.
Based on the set alone, I disagree with her.
Get back to Unapologetic Live.
And yes, Wild and Crazy Ride, totally the woman cave.
That's Katie.
I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. I'm certainly having a fantastic Monday. Taylor is here as well.
What's up, guys?
Hi, Taylor.
So I'm having a great Monday because I found out that Elon Musk bought Twitter this morning for $44 billion, which we are going to get to that and have a discussion surrounding that. But I wanted to just get into this story. We'll talk Elon Musk buying Twitter, and then let's talk broader ideas. What does this mean? Is this really a big deal that people are making it out to be? And is this a sign of the pendulum swinging back our way?
Is this a big deal?
Is this a big deal?
Is a single man buying like the most popular
public
forum for political discussion
for $44 billion?
Is this a big deal?
Is this a big deal? I don't know.
Well, she's going to give us the answer, so.
Well, it seems like the pendulum is swinging back their way.
Yeah.
So is she calling Elon like a straight up right winger?
They do claim Elon is one of theirs, and he is a right winger in practice, but like he
doesn't like preach.
No, his actual preaching is more all over the map politically.
Yeah. Interesting.
But he's he's at his core a pro-capitalist labor exploiter, so
Oh,
he's a right-winger.
That's a little right-wing to me.
Yeah.
Left losing, and we'll sort of go through all
left
the
is
different spheres of
losing.
influence, where we're winning, where we're losing, what does the left have left to run with. Oh my gosh, that's a tongue twister there. And then we'll talk about
Is it?
how
Left
we
to
can-
run with?
What does the left have left to run with? Yeah, a real twisty tongue.
Because Twitter's been taken away from us to run with, or like
Yeah, I thought he was a free speech arbiter.
or like was our whole leftist platform built on Twitter ownership? I don't know.
I don't know what she's trying
Here we
to
go.
say.
Let's see what she's saying.
moving forward and just see if there's any unifying factors between the two of us. I've been seeing videos on TikTok of all places that when I watch them, I can't tell whether or not it's a leftist speaking to me or a conservative, which for me is a really good sign. If it starts to sound like we are on the same page in any way, shape, or form, I can get on board with that. So we'll discuss that.
That's interesting.
You know, I don't hate that.
No, I think that's one of the more rational things
Yeah,
that
I don't hate that she said that.
She said maybe the most rational thing she's said.
Yeah.
And
Do you want some water?
Oh my gosh, it was a big. No, I feel good. I got it.
Okay, good.
Thank you. A lot of talking, it brings it up. But what she's speaking to, it's fascinating how there is a lot of specific agreement between leftists and some right-wingers, you know, like, and it's always been weird. Like, we've talked about how, like, there are these right-wingers now who are, like, anti-corporate. Which makes no fucking sense. To be
corporatism is inherently linked to capitalism.
Yeah, to be pro-capitalist, but anti-corporate is just
It's very weird.
fucking bizarre.
Oxymoronic.
They should just be leftists. But, like, there is a fascinating thing, I think, to look at there, and I think it is, it's a good reason to be specific in our language as much as we can be and find these opportunities to build bridges. And again, another reason why we're doing what we're doing is to find those opportunities. When you find, because we've had some right-wingers come into chat who, like, agreed with us on certain economic issues and stuff. So I appreciate that she's, like, acknowledging that and acknowledging the potential value of those bridges being built.
Yeah, I have to also check myself when I hear her say shit like this, because my initial reaction to hearing this is that she's saying I'm hearing leftists finally backing down to right-wing ideals. Whether that's what she's saying or not.
Yes.
That's how I'm receiving it, because I don't trust these people.
Well, right, and you know, and to be fair, like, you know,
I need to check myself there.
I tend to view it as right-wingers giving into leftist ideas.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you
So
know,
it's,
it's kind of like just how
there's bias there with me and Casey.
it's how any human is going to frame
Yeah,
it.
for
Like,
sure,
we
for
like what we like, we believe in what we believe, and when people, you know, start saying what we believe, we're going to think of it as like, people starting to agree with me. We're not going to think of it as like, me starting to agree with other people, because that's like kind of weird. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway.
And yeah, Clappy, I agree with that too. And I think.
Oh no! Let me be clear. No meeting bigots halfway. Never. Never.
Yes.
I am absolutely opposed. You do not meet bigots halfway. You do not negotiate with bigots. You do not negotiate with fascists. You don't make deals with fascists. You know, it's like that. Was that old? There's a great, like, poem, like the, you know, the unjust man asks you to meet him in the middle. And then you take a step towards him, and then he takes a step back, and he says, "Meet me in the middle again." Mm-hmm. You know, like that. You cannot.
Yeah.
Play ball with fascists. And if you encounter a right-winger who can at least see that, you know, that corporate exploitation is bad, if they care about their own rights as a worker, there is potential to bring them over to leftism. Not to meet them halfway. That's liberal shit. That's like liberal electoral politics strategy. Never meet them halfway. Never be diplomatic with a fascist. Fuck them. Bring them over to leftism or leave them to rot.
Yeah. Yes.
To be clear.
At the end of the show today. So first, let's start off with Elon Musk buying Twitter. I made a reel about this earlier. You probably seen it on YouTube if you're subscribed, which you should be, whether or not you're following on PragerU or...
No, if you want to watch PragerU videos with a critical eye, subscribe to us, not to them.
Yes.
Because they won't get extra clicks. and we're funnier and better, and we actually know how to speak English.
On Unapologetic, you should be subscribed to both channels. Halfway through this stream, we're going to cut out and just go over to Unapologetic with Amala, which you guys can type in my name, Amala Panobi on YouTube, and subscribe there if you want to watch the full stream. Go over to that section. I'll actually be watching the live chat on that channel as well. So, again, I came into work today and got the news that Elon Musk has finally gone through with the $44 billion deal to finally buy Twitter.
How many times are you going to say finally? Jesus.
Finally!
Work on your vocabulary,
We've been
please.
waiting for years!
Something we went back and forth on, and initially we thought wasn't going to happen, but it looks like due to a mixture of maybe just pressure from the outside and fiduciary responsibility, the board has gone ahead and accepted this offer from Elon. Whoop, whoop. So I have a feeling we're going to see the use of Twitter just...
Elon whoop whoop, just really...
It really ground your gears.
really turned my stomach.
It really tickled your nipples.
Just acknowledging that my nipples were tickled.
Skyrockets in a lot of ways in the near future.
Twitter's gonna
Now,
skyrocket.
We've been seeing a decline in Twitter usership, but that might just be due to the fact that people were leaving in droves due to the censorship.
Were
and
we
everything.
seeing a decline in Twitter usership?
I don't know if there's an overall decline.
Can I look it up?
Yeah, look it up. But definitely many right-wingers left Twitter because they weren't allowed to just say whatever bigoted shit they wanted to their heart's content. And so they had to go over to shit like Parler and
Yeah.
the other right-wing social media platforms that allow that shit and, of course, always just devolve into complete horror.
No, eMarketer said Twitter saw a 4.1 spike in U.S. users in 2020 to 56 million. Before that, growth rate slowed. Here, let's make it bigger.
0.8%.
To 0.8 in 2021, and it sees the social network. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
1.1 million users by the end of 2025.
And to be clear, 1 million out of 56 million over the course of 4 years is a pretty
she
minor decline.
Really has a right to say.
And
that,
this is
but
just
that's
a
okay.
prediction.
Yeah.
The current data says there's been only the growth rate has slowed.
What fresh
So she
statistics?
is basically lying.
Convinceandconvert.com. You think they're trustworthy? Convinceandconvert.com. Finances online, number of Twitter users 2022, 2023. Is experience okay? Here we go. A steady decline in popularity. Because we just want to make sure that she's not talking out of her asshole. 330 million monthly active users based on its last reported data. First quarter of 2019 as 2020. Twitter's monetizable daily active users stands at 166 million. Okay. A 24% growth from 2019. Meanwhile, in the United States alone, Twitter has 69.3 million active users as of January 2021. So it went up from the 56 million in 2020 to 69 million in 2021.
Got it.
Okay, so it just seems like she's really making a leap here by saying there was a decline.
Yes, and there's also, even if there was a decline, she hasn't presented any evidence that is actually connected to, like, Twitter got too lefty or whatever.
Yeah.
She's trying to frame it as.
Yeah. And
could be any number of factors.
Yeah, I love that the only thing that specifically said there was, like, a real decline in Twitter usership was convert.com.
Yeah.
Convinceandconvert.com.
To be fair, we're trying to convince and convert people, but we never name
But
our
listen,
site convinceandconvert.com.
I don't mean to be explicit. We're good and right, and they're bad and wrong.
Yeah, well, that is the problem, isn't it? That's the distinction.
That's really the big...
It's not bad to convince and convert people. The question is, what are you convincing them of? What are you converting them to?
So I have a feeling we're going to see people coming from Truth Social, from Getter, from...
Truth Social, just so you guys know, is where Donald Trump now is going.
Didn't he start it? Isn't it his thing?
Did he start
Truth
it?
Social? Yeah, I thought.
Oh, perhaps it's his website.
I mean, obviously he needed many other people to make it a thing, but, like, I think he's spearheading it.
Oh, great.
I
Truth
believe.
Social is like the new... What was that one that they
Parler?
did? Parler.
Rumble, from all these other alt social media platforms that they switched to because Twitter was not upholding its idea, or the American idea of free speech and that principle.
Free speech.
And again, like, it's been said a million times, but again, freedom of speech as the law that exists in the, in the Constitution is protection from the government. curtailing your speech, not private entities.
They'll never get it.
Twitter could the Elon Musk now, new owner of Twitter, he could say from now on all you can say on Twitter is the word toilet and no other word can be typed, and that's it. All you can write on Twitter now is toilet, 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 toilet.
And he
it would
can
be
do that.
it would not be a violation of constitutional freedom of speech.
Yeah.
At all. Not even a little bit. So like, and as I've said before, the kind of freedom of speech that she is claiming to dream of, again, I think she's a liar, but like to push this idea of a freedom of speech where like people can say whatever they want in public all the time and never face any kind of consequence where they are either removed from a site like Twitter, banned from the site, or fired from their job, or whatever. The only way you can have that kind of freedom of speech, if you really want that kind of freedom of speech, which I think could be a good thing, is if you abolish capitalism. That kind of free speech cannot exist under capitalism because we all have fucking bosses, you know? And like you don't have freedom of speech to say whatever you want in private settings.
I wish I had their version of freedom of speech when I was working at a fucking restaurant.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
It's a
The
standard.
things I wish I could have said to people.
Right. It's a standard across capitalist society that if your boss thinks that something you said was problematic for any reason, they can fucking fire you.
Hi, Husky Canvas.
You know, to be fair, there are some variations in laws across states, you know, and there's different protections for employees and employers depending on what state you're in. But generally speaking, you know, they can just make something up that fits the law. You know, like people can lie. If you really want people to have their speech protected to this degree, this fantasy that is presented not just by conservative outlets like PragerU, but even, you know, like the liberal article at the Daily Beast that we went over. You know, I like that. I do think people should be able to say what they think. Even people who think terrible things, because then we can know.
Identify them.
Yeah, we can identify, oh, you're bad. Okay. You know, if you aren't allowed to say that stuff, we'll never know. And then they can hide off in cabins in the woods and their horrible ideologies can fester in little bubble cultures. Like, it's better, I think, if everyone just says what they think and we listen to what people think. And again, you can't, like if that's really what you're going for, you should be against capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so long as...
Hey, what's up, Husky Canvas?
Yeah, we love to talk political shit.
Welcome to the chat. Cute puppy.
We're pooping on PragerU today.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to start going over to Twitter, so I'm excited to see it. I've seen some great memes coming out of this. I think there's going to be a lot of Twitter employees that are hopefully leaving in the wake of this news because it's so heartbreaking that we can't censor people anymore and ruin their livelihoods and delete.
So, it's obviously a straw man argument.
Isn't it?
No, I'm just kidding. She's totally right. She's totally right. Before we turned on the camera today, we were both like, oh no, Twitter won't be able to censor free speech anymore. Oh, we won't be able to cancel everyone. If only you'd seen us before the camera went on.
Sobbing.
She's got our number.
Sobbing.
Their platforms because we disagree with them. What a horrendous thing to have to deal with. And the amazing tweets of people saying, you know, I'm going to leave the United States if Elon Musk buys Twitter. I love to see just ideology backfire on people because a lot of us, when we were coming out with these complaints about Twitter, talking Section 230,
ideology backfiring. Let's see. She's explaining, so maybe she'll make this make sense.
I mean, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
About free speech and censorship. We were met with, well, it's a private business and they can do whatever they want. Get your own platform, build a new social media, blah, blah, blah. And now you're hearing the same people who said those things going, oh my gosh, I can't believe Elon Musk has bought Twitter and is going to be upholding free speech. What a horrendous thing to do. This is very treacherous. I don't know what the future is going to look like.
Well, yeah, the issue there, the distinction is that the TOS that exists on Twitter now, pre-Elon Musk, I think it's pretty morally defensible.
Yeah. Whereas
Elon is known as a shithead. Like, his whole record is just being a fucking dickhead to everyone he's ever encountered. So, yeah, that's bad. That's worse. And it's not, I don't think the criticism is that, like, now it's bad because of it being a private company, that, like, this is a violation of freedom of speech. Like, no one's saying that.
No. What worries me personally about Elon Musk buying Twitter and allowing for free speech is it opens a lot of doors for misinformation that was getting taken down. Or people who were, inciting violence getting banned from Twitter.
Yes.
Opening those doors is potentially damaging.
Yeah.
It's
like saying like, oh, so you thought it was bad when like, or you thought it was good when terrible people like Trump were banned from Twitter. Well, now all of a sudden a terrible person is in charge of Twitter and you think that's bad?
yeah.
Like,
It's
yes.
weird.
Yes, it's not inconsistent. Those values are very consistent.
Also, I don't know a lot of leftists who are like crying about this shit. Like we're pissed. It's frightening.
It sucks.
Because
anytime Elon Musk has more power in the world is worse off.
I'm sorry, a man shouldn't have $44 billion
Right,
to
ever.
buy Twitter.
Ever.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. No person should have $1 billion.
No person should have $1 billion. No person, and I know a lot of people are like, well, the 44 billion is actually like a bunch of people and blah blah blah. I don't care. Yeah. No guy should be able to buy Twitter for $44 billion. Period. End of story. Yeah. That should not be a thing that is possible to do. You should not be able to, as one man, purchase the largest political whatever, not even political, the largest forum,
public forum
on the internet.
Well, also, again, I'm just tripping out on her logic here, that she's saying, like, oh, the leftists thought it was so cool when Twitter banned Nazis. But now, when the new guy's coming in who's saying he's going to let Nazis say whatever they want, that's bad?
It's like, yeah.
Please, ma'am, please, you grifter fuck.
Yeah, honestly, Husky Canvas.
Just shut down your show. You're just a plague on society. Truly, I hope, just tonight she, shits her pants so bad she gives up on life. That would be a good thing for the world.
That would be a turning point for me if I shit my pants that bad.
I hope she shits her pants on a show. I hope she eats the wrong thing, and one day on a live stream, just shit starts firing out of her ass. As strong as a fire hose. I wanted to lift her up out of her seat. She's like, whoa! And you see the stream of shit come up into camera, lifting her out of her chair. And then she just gives up on ever going on camera or speaking in public again. I would love that.
I think a big distinction too, I can't really top that, but I think a big distinction too, though, is our values are consistent and their values are incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah.
So
you can't be a conservative and have consistent values.
So when
it doesn't
she's
work.
making fun of consistency of our values, it sounds weird.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you thought this one thing and now you think this other thing that goes along with that first thing you were thinking?
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You know what? It just makes me feel a little warm inside. To see
I love people suffering.
The L's being taken on the other side of this coin.
The L's being taken. This is one of their new favorite phrases.
The L's.
Taking the L.
That's a Gen Z thing, I think.
Yeah, it is popular with Gen Z, it seems. But yeah, I just get a kick out of how conservatives latch on to these phrases. And then they're like, they're totally taking the L again today. It's another day left us taking the L. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Because people were like, Elon Musk owning Twitter is bad. And you're like, ha ha ha, they took the L.
It's like, I had no say in this. What? Oh, it's a Fortnite meme. Nice.
Oh, interesting. And the thing is, no one's saying now, oh, Elon, doesn't have the legal right to dictate what is said on Twitter.
No,
because now he does.
The issue is that he does. That's the problem. He shouldn't, but he does.
Right. But then their argument to that would be like, oh, so it's okay for so-and-so who used to own Twitter to set the TOS, but now Elon Musk can't set the TOS, and obviously that's a stupid argument, but that's the argument they'd make.
Right.
And the point is that, we're not against TOS or freedom of speech as it exists in the law. It's just who's in control of these things.
He's not the person we want in charge of that, and it's pretty clear.
And when people
as to why,
and when leftists or liberals bring up the argument to right wingers of before on Twitter that Twitter saying so and so is banned is not a violation of freedom of speech because because that is the legal definition of like freedom of speech is about protecting the people from the government curtailing their language. When they make that argument, they're not saying that it's not even an argument of whether that's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
All that is a pushback on the claim that it's a violation of freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because legally speaking, based on the law of freedom of speech as it exists in America, Twitter having a TOS and banning people who violate it is not a violation of that law.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can have a deeper conversation about like what are the ethics of curtailing certain speech for the greater good. But that's a whole different conversation. The question is it a violation of constitutional freedom of speech? And the answer is fucking no.
Never has been. Unless they change the Constitution.
Yeah.
Never will be.
And it's not an argument that that law is good. It's just saying that if you're saying it's a violation of freedom of speech as it stands in the law, you're fucking wrong, objectively. There's nothing to debate there. Now, you can say that our current definition of freedom of speech is lacking and that you think it should be reworked, redefined, but you can't say that the actions of Twitter before was a violation of freedom of speech as it stands on the books today, because it was not.
I also, just like a little side note, it's always funny to me when these people are like, the Constitution!
Yeah.
You can't! Do they know what the word amendment means?
Right. No, they don't know what any words mean.
Like, I just really want to make
yeah,
sure.
they present the Constitution as a sacred document when in fact it is a document that is defined by its editability.
It's literally,
literally
look up the word amendment.
It's made to be amended. Like, holy fuck.
There's so many of them.
That's what made it cool. That's like the cool thing about the Constitution.
Cheeseburger Merv coming in hot.
What's up, Cheeseburger Merv?
Bud?
Nothing more than to never have to see a person that they disagree with ever again. And all the W's on the side of people who enjoy free speech and liberty and are okay with not even just hearing different opinions and seeing people with different opinions, but just allowing them to be on the same platforms as them. What a simple ask that is of a person to just say, can I be on this too? It's a very...
Can we, real quick.
I mean, first I just want to say Twitter TOS was never about keeping certain people off Twitter.
Yeah.
The Twitter TOS was about keeping certain language off Twitter. It was not person specific. It was not demographic specific. It was about specific kinds of language that they banned from their platform. Mm-hmm. And conservatives are perfectly welcome to be on Twitter. They're writing tweets every fucking day on Twitter. They have been since Twitter was invented. Twitter has never said all conservatives must leave. They just say, like, no hate speech.
Yeah.
And then conservatives like hate speech more than leftists. So more conservatives get banned because they're hateful people.
It's just like... I wish people understood. I'm just looking up who's been permanently banned from Twitter. It's not a ton of people.
And it's all the worst people. Marjorie Taylor Greene, scumbag. Go up.
Piece of shit.
I want to see who else.
Mike Lindell.
Piece of shit.
James O'Keefe.
Huge piece of shit.
Giant
Lying
piece of
propagandist. Fuck. Nihilist. Fuck him. Burn in hell. James O'Keefe.
Aubrey Huff.
Aubrey Huff. Don't know.
Don't
Sports
know who that
people.
is.
Whatever.
Sidney Powell.
I don't know Sidney Powell.
Michael Flynn.
Terrible.
Donald Trump.
Worst person who ever lived.
Lynn Wood.
Not the worst, but kind of one of the worst. Lynn Wood, I don't know. I know kind of. Steve Bannon, scum.
I don't know who
Aaron
this is.
Madison III.
David Duke.
Pure scum.
Jacob
Bigot,
Wolf.
KKK, fuck him.
Laura Loomer?
Don't know
I don't know who that is. Alex Jones.
Piece of shit, liar,
Liar.
propagandist, cynic, believes in nothing.
Roger Stone.
Scumbag.
I'm having fun.
Martin Shkreli, rich kid, fuckface, fuck him.
Tila Tequila.
Tila Tequila.
Conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy theorist, psycho.
Terrible.
Miley Yiannopoulos, bigot, fuckface, piece
Azalea
of shit.
Banks.
Azalea Banks, I know.
She's a model, right?
No, didn't she's a music artist?
I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure.
I don't know much about Azalea Banks.
Yeah.
George Zimmerman.
Scum.
And Courtney Love.
Fine.
That's,
So it's mostly
that's
scumbags.
mostly pieces of shit assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, Clappy69.
Yeah. I just
Truly.
think I have no ethical qualms against bullying bigots into submission.
No, none at all.
I
None
really
at all.
don't.
Make their life a living hell until they shut up or change their mind.
Yeah. I really like I used to be a lot like I don't want to say kinder. I used to be a lot more patient, unnecessarily so, with people who had different opinions than me, different more unethical values.
Yeah.
And just over the last several years I've realized like no, patience is not warranted nor earned by anybody who is a bigoted piece of shit. They deserve a miserable life or to change their mind.
Ah, good. And Elise, yes, Sidney Powell is the idiot lawyer who alleged Venezuela hacked the election.
Great.
Thank you for the reminder.
And see, these people are most of these people get banned for
Cheeseburger Merv. Hey, you got my number.
Cheeseburger.
You got me.
Merv.
Cheeseburger.
Most of the people that get banned for misinformation.
Yeah, that's the most common thing. Because misinformation is legitimately dangerous. It gets people killed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Clappy69, that's the paradox of tolerance. You can't tolerate the intolerant.
Yep, indeed.
Oh, I see. She stood by Giuliani when his hair bled down his face. I just spit. That made me spit.
Very, very simple ask, and that includes a lot of liberals, some leftists, very few leftists, but some leftists who agree with that principle, and conservatives.
I'm actually really happy that she distinguished liberals and leftists, and rather than anyone left of right, clumped into the woke.
That's very unusual.
Like that's actually
on PragerU.
Insightful. Good.
Credit where credit's due.
Who have been trying to uphold free speech and say, you know, this is not only a battle for me and my ability to speak freely on these platforms, it's a battle for you. We want all people to be able to talk on these platforms. And Elon put out an amazing tweet after this deal was broken and the news came out and said, you know, something.
Get ready for an amazing tweet. Are your amaze engines rumbling?
Get ready to
Here
be
it
amazed.
comes. Something amazing.
Amaze me.
Get ready for your monocles to fly across the room.
Along the lines of, I hope the people who are critiquing me in this deal right now stay on the platform because I'm fighting for their ability to speak as well. And I think that is a beautiful sentiment.
Is it beautiful or amazing? Also, let's keep this in mind when inevitably Elon starts silencing people who make him look bad.
Well, he already does that.
Yeah, he does it all the
that.
time. And of course he's going to keep doing it with this...
I wanna find it. There are examples of him doing that, and I didn't know Nick Fuentes also got banned. Fucking Nazi.
Yes, we can look at that after this. That's a good idea. And hooray, fuck Nick Fuentes.
But yes, there are actual concrete examples currently of Elon Musk shutting people up who disagree with him.
Oh yeah, and covering up labor exploitation. You know, like denying many reports of racism in the culture of his companies.
He's tried to. There's an example of him trying to buy someone off. Who said he was exploiting labor, and when they didn't take it, it was either that he fired them or I want to make sure I'm saying correct information.
And we can look it up more specifically.
But yeah, no, this is not a new thing for Elon Musk silencing people.
And this is a guy who paid to pretend to be the founder of companies he didn't found.
Yeah.
How is this a free speech guy?
And these are things that you guys can look up. And also, we did a really long video covering all of this. It's on our
last
Wednesday. It's on our VODs. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Now let's get into some of the responses to what has happened today. Of course, we have to check in with Brian Stelter of CNN because he's just so good at doing his little tap dancing around what he'd actually like to say. And he's so good at packaging this propagandized narrative into words that just make it underneath, you know?
Is she really saying this right now?
Of course, it's all projection. They're just the least self-aware people.
My mom had a Twitter called Loud Louie, and she got banned for telling Mitch McConnell to go play in traffic.
Yeah, no, yeah. It would be a wonderful thing if he played in traffic.
What would be a very horrific thing to hear on the news. So here he is responding to Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Look, who knows? I think that's an example of a broader question for Twitter, which is, if you get invited to something where there are no rules, where there is total freedom for everybody, do you actually want to go to that party? Or are you going to decide to stay home? And that's a question for Twitter users. Some Twitter users might love the idea that there's going to be absolutely no moderation and no...
Well, it's going to be 4chan.
I was just going to say that. It's going to turn into 4chan. And you know what came out of 4chan? QAnon!
And the January 6th insurrection.
So, yeah, I'd rather Twitter not be 4chan.
Yeah, but that is absolutely... If Elon Musk truly does just take all the fucking regulations off and just says anyone can say anything, it will become 4chan. That's what happens to any internet space where there's no TOS.
And when that happens, fascism wins.
Fascism becomes more powerful when that happens, and he's making the point that a lot of Twitter users probably will stop going on Twitter if it actually turns into 4chan. Like, if you've never, anyone out there, if you've never actually gone on 4chan
it's terrible.
Or 8chan or whatever, and looked at these fucking message boards, like...
Horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible.
I think most Twitter users in America are not prepared
for
Twitter to turn into 4chan and just how ugly it gets.
It's not pleasant.
It could get real fucking ugly.
Real quick.
Yeah.
No rules at all. Others might not want to be anywhere near that. Am I crazy, Matt?
No, you're right. And what happens to the advertising? I mean, if there's no moderation or little moderation, do the advertisers stay away? What does that do to the business?
And here's an interesting question. Do you think, would Elon Musk be happy if he just, like, tanked Twitter?
Do you
would he be happy about that? Like, if he just takes all the rules off, it turns into 4chan, average everyday Americans stop using it because they don't want to see an endless stream of peppy Nazi memes, and so, like, advertising drops, revenue drops. Like, if all that happened and Twitter kind of became either more just smaller than it was, or maybe even folded entirely, do you think Elon would be happier to have a world with no Twitter?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
Clappy earlier brought up that this for Elon is more notably a business investment more than it is like a push for freedom of speech.
Right.
So he's probably going to do whatever is smartest in his investment.
That is my
whatever will make him a
expectation.
big return. He paid $44 billion.
Yeah.
So is he trying to get his money back, or is he trying to, show everyone how huge his penis is? I don't know. I can't make that call.
I think you're making a good point that it is safe to assume he will take whichever path makes him the most money, because that has been his general modus operandi throughout all of life.
Yeah.
And also, he clearly enjoys being a little shit on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so he probably wouldn't want to necessarily give that up.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's a part of him that would be glad that he would at least see a silver lining in that there's no longer a public platform where people could easily mock and criticize him, and like the kid who started tracking his private jet on Twitter, like that.
That's who it was.
That could
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting question.
Some kid tracked his private jet on Twitter.
And yeah, Clappy69, totally. Yeah, there is no real.
Well, yeah,
mainstream
it's a giant forum.
No, I mean, and I thought, obviously we have our Twitter up on our stream,
which
we don't really use, and I've thought about, like,
we gotta start live
do we
tweeting?
need it to Twitter? I feel like for now we're gonna stay on Twitter. We're not
Yeah.
boycotting Twitter as of yet, but I understand people who are. But we'll see what happens.
I don't know. If
Yeah.
it turns into 4chan, I'm getting the
then we're
fuck out of
fucking-
there.
then we'll
no
be-
way.
we will be out of there
I'm
for
not
sure.
doing that.
As much as I hate to see little,
I can't handle the Nazi memes.
yeah, as much as I'd hate to see little blue man Underbite go, because I love him.
Oh, the little
yeah.
cartoon? Yeah.
Yeah, not worth it if it turns into 4chan.
Yeah.
He'll just become an artifact of history.
Yes.
Prospects for Twitter itself.
I think that's very much look.
Okay, pause. Ugh. Okay, first of all, who said there was going to be no rules? Taylor, did you ever hear anybody say there was going to be no rules on Twitter after Elon bought it?
He said it's going to be the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, we're just gunslinging now. We can say.
Then what did he say?
What did he say? Isn't your whole
What are you
thing-
fighting for? It seems like
Yeah.
you're saying absolute freedom of speech beyond the classic legal definition. That seems to be what right-wingers are fighting for.
Okay, but yeah, what are you
But then she's like, "Oh, who says there's no? Then what are you? Then what? Then what are the rules that you think are appropriate?"
Because, yeah, when we say 4chan, that is an example of a
Yeah.
place that has absolute freedom of speech.
And if you think rules are good, that there should be a TOS, what the fuck was your issue with the old TOS? What specifically
It's the misinformation.
was wrong
part.
with it.
It's the misinformation.
And of course, yeah, it's all vagaries. It's all ambiguous accusations because they don't have actual evidence to back any of this up.
That's funny.
Perhaps, Clappy69. It is possible.
Say whatever we want. We can go and threaten people and say we're going to light things on fire and all this stuff. No, that was never said. All that Elon said is, you know what, we're going to honor people who have different opinions on the...
What?
So vague. So vague.
What?
We're going to honor people who have different opinions.
Do you know
Different.
Do you know how many conservatives are on Twitter?
Yeah, they're fine. All conservative
What-
opinions,
what
especially
is this
if you're talking about like
generalizing?
classic conservatism, if you're talking about like just, you know, low regulation and low taxes and shit, like that is fully allowed anywhere on social media.
Yeah, I believe Daddy Trump got taken off of Twitter for inciting an insurrection.
Yeah.
That's literally what she's talking about. She's like, they're not going to go tell everyone to start fires and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, literally, that's why
what
he got
did,
taken
and
off
he
Twitter.
got taken off Twitter.
So what's the difference? I'm
She's
confused.
a fucking liar.
I'm a little confused.
this
you do?
platform, and we're going to allow that to come to fruition, and we're going to allow people to say the things that they want. And all of a sudden, Brian Stelter's like, there's no rules, there's no regulation, and
What rule specifically is Elon going to take away that exists now to allow different different opinions?
Do you think she's going to tell us?
No. She'll never be specific.
But I thought she criticizes people who don't actually say what they're thinking.
Yes.
Interesting.
Almost like she's a big
Weird.
fucking hypocrite.
look at what's underlying about what he's saying. What he's saying is that he
Look at what's underlying about what he's saying.
Brilliant. Wordsmith.
Here's a word for your vocabulary: subtext. Try working it in.
doesn't want you to have free speech. He doesn't want there to exist a social media platform where everybody and anybody is free to express their opinions, their views, their beliefs, and their values.
You're describing a forum with no rules.
What is she saying? Does she not hear?
Well, she's a liar. She's a grifter. Is my guess. We can't know for sure. We can't read her mind. But based on
She's
the fact that
contradicting herself.
she seems fairly smart, I have to guess she's a grifter.
She literally, like, I know she's not saying these exact words, but, like, the connotation of her words are, we don't want somewhere with no rules, we just want somewhere with no rules.
Exactly. That's what
It's
she's
like-
saying. She's saying, who said there aren't going to be any rules? All we're saying is people should be able to say whatever they want and express anything freely.
It's like, what the fuck are you trying to say?
Like, oh, I'm not saying that I'm going to eat shit for dinner tonight. I'm just saying that I'm going to put turds on a plate and use a fork and knife to cut them into little pieces and put them in my mouth and chew and swallow them. Hello?
Because what a horrendous society we would be living in if that's the case. What a pro-American society we would be living in if that's the case. And you have to
Does she think 4chan is pro-American?
Probably.
Yucky.
dance around saying that, because if he outright said I don't support free speech, I imagine people wouldn't take that so well. So
Yeah,
now-
just like if you outright said, I support absolute freedom of speech where even Nazis and propagandists can say whatever they want without limits, you would also look bad.
Yeah.
It's just like PragerU, it's changed the name to Projection University because it's all they fucking do.
Yeah.
now we get to say things about, well, would you want to be invited to a party that honors your freedom and allows you to do whatever you want? Yeah.
No, I probably, if there were a bunch of dicks flying around at the party I was invited to, I don't know if I'd want to go.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's not about honoring freedom, and it's about, he said if there was a party with no rules.
yeah.
Like, as in, like, people could be pissing on the floor.
yeah.
As in, like, people could be, assaulting everyone
Yeah,
willy-nilly.
yeah.
Like, no rules means no rules.
Yeah.
And then she turns it into honoring freedom.
She's like, oh, you wouldn't want to go to a party where conservatives are allowed in there? Like, no, that's not what he's
yeah,
fucking
well,
saying.
but also, no. If a party is mostly conservatives, leave me off the invite list.
I don't want to go there.
I have better ways to spend my time than surrounding myself with the most boring morons to ever live.
I like going to parties where I'm told what to do.
Exactly.
And, you're not allowed to do anything except what the people throwing the party allow you to. Those are the
That's every party, you fucking moron.
Like, try showing up to a party naked.
Yeah, like
Try showing up to a party naked.
I
See
can't
what happens.
imagine going to a party
See
where
what happens.
I'm not allowed to do certain things. What do you whip your dick out at birthday parties for kids? There are rules at every party, you fucking scumbag.
We operate with our society under a social contract, which has rules. Like you can't make these hasty generalizations without acknowledging that they're hasty generalizations.
Well, it's because they're so blind to the rules of society because to them status quo is just truth.
Right. It's
So
what
they
God
don't
asked
they don't
for.
see that, like, even saying
Yeah.
like you better have a pants on when you come to my party, like that's a rule. These are rules. They have rules at their party. No conservative is ever going to throw a party where there are no rules. There will be rules. Go to the average rich American conservatives party in their nice house that they want to keep nice.
You can't break their shit.
Yeah,
That's a
jump
rule.
up on a table and start singing karaoke. They'll be telling you to get down. They'll be, don't choose the finish on my table. They're not going to be like, yeah, no rules. This is the no rule party. There's no such fucking thing.
And yeah, no rules party do
I just
happen,
wanna-
and they get
ugh.
arrested. You know,
I
it's
just want
just
to
like
slap all these people. Every time they say anything, I just fantasize about slapping them across the fucking face.
funnest kind of party.
Idiots.
Yeah, when I throw a party at my house, before people walk in, they have to sign a contract that they were A, going to say their pronouns before they walk in, B, are vaccinated, and C, if they have any unpopular opinions, they will first whisper them to me before.
Okay, if anyone hears about this fucking idiot throwing a party, please let me know so I can show up to the party where there's no contract I had to sign before going in, and I'll just start
straw
fucking
man.
shitting everywhere. I'll punch holes in all the walls. I'll find the other family members and push them out a window because she didn't make me sign a contract before
This is
walking into
such a
the party.
fucking red herring bullshit argument.
Yes.
Who is she? The implication here is that parties where we have to sign contracts already exist, and she does mention vaccine cards. Some like friend groups do require like that their friends be vaccinated for their own safety.
Yeah. I've yet to
Sure.
have to sign a contract
Ever.
in my experience.
It's a straw man argument. This
Yes.
is not a real thing that's a concern to anyone except her.
Yes.
Before they say them out loud, and then they're able to hop into my place and join the party. That sounds like what Brian Stelter's advocating
Also, the fucking transphobia is bullshit.
for here. And again, it's just grasping at straws. There is no
No,
way
you are
to
grasping at
justify the fact that
straws.
you don't want somebody who is going to honor people's right to speech to own a platform. So you have to do things like this because I can imagine the people at CNN, the higher ups at CNN, are watching him and just glaringly waiting for him to slip up. Just say it. Say what we want you to say.
Glaringly watching him.
Oh, listen. I am guilty of using words wrong. I really am.
Me, not so much.
Casey less than I.
So I'm a big snob about it.
Anyways.
Very rare, Zoe. Very rare.
I know, but shut up.
Yeah.
Anyways, I am known to occasionally use a word wrong.
Yeah.
And someone will call me out.
But then
and
I
I'm
make
like-
fun of
and
you
then
for
make
that,
fun
too.
of me, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and then I stop using the word wrong. She's used like 10 words wrong so far.
And the problem is there's no one in the
Confidently,
room to
and
tell
she's
her
getting
she's dumb.
paid
Yeah,
for
she's getting
this.
paid piles of dough.
It's like
She's granted a fancy studio, a bizarre studio, but it's fancy, to spew this nonsense.
she has a feather in a cup
Yeah.
to say words wrong. If only.
Spout your propaganda or else, Brian. And there's no shortage of clips of Brian doing this and just nervously and uncomfortably lying to people. So it's brilliant to see this take place after this back and forth of them saying, buy your own platform and get your own place to have your conversations. I'm just soaking in it. I'm just basking in it. We have another.
I've never said conservatives go get your own platform. I've always said conservatives shut up, never speak again. until you change your minds.
You do say that a lot.
So, just for me specifically,
Yeah.
that's a straw man. Because I don't want conservatives to have any platform anywhere, ever.
No.
I want conservatives who have no power at all in the world. Zero.
The Republican Party should be completely obliterated.
Yeah.
And
I want
you
a
cannot convince me
standardized global culture where anytime a person expresses conservative beliefs, they are immediately ostracized, ignored, shunned, mocked, made a pariah of, shoved to the fringe of society and left to rot. That is what I'm going for. So just so PragerU knows, I don't want you to have your own platform anywhere, ever. I want your speech suppressed.
Yeah.
I'm not into that level of freedom of speech for fascist right-wing fuckers. I want your speech suppressed
Yeah.
by other people voluntarily telling you you're a fucking idiot. I don't want the government to suppress their speech. I want people,
Society as a whole.
decent people, to open their mouths, and every time a conservative dumb fuck shithead says something fucking awful, tell them they're being a conservative dumb fuck shithead and they just said something awful. Tell them every single time. Don't let them even get the whole statement out. Cut them off
Just put your hands on
and
the mouth.
tell them to shut up.
Other hot take.
Yeah, because the alternative is you let them say whatever the fuck they want, and then you get fucking January 6th insurrections and shit. Like, there's this popular thing, I think, especially among liberal culture, of like, don't feed the trolls. But the issue is you cannot ignore fascists into submission. And there is a way to respond to trolls without feeding them. There's a way to cut off their weird little, I mean, one way not
We've
to do
done
it.
it.
Yeah, you just have to not lose your mind. You just have to not have an emotional meltdown.
Just realize that they're like not real people.
Yeah, if you
and
tell a troll straight up that they're being a fucking idiot, they run away.
they usually leave.
They run away.
Yeah.
It's only if you respond like, "No, that's not true,"
Or you like
that's
try to
feeding the
like
trolls.
kill them with kindness.
Yeah, you try
like
to
you
kill
come in
'em,
like
yeah.
super good faith. Like
Yes.
no, you match their energy.
No,
They come in being fucking idiot, bigoted pieces of shit, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you idiot, bigot piece of shit."
fuck you,
And then
fuck
they're
off.
like, "Ah!"
It's like
and
the
they
one
leave.
thing they don't have a retaliation for.
Yeah, is people matching their energy because they thrive on people being good faith.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Casey and I approach a lot of conversations good faith. Like we give people a chance to speak.
Yes.
But it's like there comes a line when you have to allow yourself to get mean.
And throughout history, it just seems like every fascist empire has been built on a foundation of good faith liberal debate.
You cannot be good faith with fascists.
No.
You cannot be good faith with bigots.
No.
They come in here and they say something fucking stupid. You say they're being fucking stupid.
And then you dump a
You be
bucket
mean.
of, and you dump
Be
a
mean.
you dump a bucket of dog shit on their head.
Yeah, you be mean.
You go and you find their house and you spray dog shit all over the front of their house. Like, that's what these people deserve.
That's the only way to handle it because feeding the trolls is being kind to trolls.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
the food.
That's feeding the
That's
trolls.
the food.
Because they love to think they're powerful and they're the winners and that they're like, that they have people who respect them. And the more you remind them that they are a lunatic fringe that has no respect from anyone except their little pocket,
Their bubble.
corner of society, the more frightened and weak they will feel, and the less they will actually do anything. They will hide.
Yes.
You know, most big-ass bigots were hiding for years until Donald Trump got elected. And then they're all like, oh, maybe
I'm allowed
maybe
now."
I'm cool, actually.
Yeah.
And they all came fucking marching out. So
No,
it is good.
It's a lunatic fringe, and they should be treated as such.
Yep.
Take from Sean King. And I know what you're thinking. Who's Sean King? But anyways, here's his tweet.
No, we're not thinking
And to be
that.
fair, Sean King is problematic in a lot of ways.
Sean King is not my favorite either.
No. But generally, the actual points he makes
They're
in
okay.
tweets and
Yeah,
stuff,
they're
they
good.
tend to be pretty solid. He's also, it seems like
Just-
he's done some shady business practices.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. His money is a little.
Yeah, there's some dubious shit going on there.
I can't make any like grand statements because I don't know enough.
Also,
but I
pretty
do know
sure-
that there is some dubious stuff
Yeah,
happening.
and what's this stupid moron's name? This woman?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you find? Because I'd like to
It's
see
probably
who has.
it's probably on here.
I'm curious who has more Twitter followers after she said Sean King. Who's that?
Oh
Let's
yeah.
see. Okay, I'll look up Sean King.
So here's her Twitter. Here's her
yeah.
Twitter.
How many followers does she have?
45.2 thousand.
Oh, Sean King has 1 million.
Who's Sean King?
Who's Sean King? Fuck you, Amala, you fuck. Eat shit, you moron. And that's the thing I want to be clear
no,
too.
Eric, we're saying that too, but she's making a stupid point of who's Sean King because she doesn't agree with what he's saying.
Eric, we just went on a whole thing about Sean King
he's
being a grifter.
For sure.
This is context. Yes, we know. And he's more well known than this stupid piece of shit. And I want to be clear because I've said like she seems smart enough to be a grifter, but even if she is smart enough to be a grifter and she's actually coming at this from a grifter angle, the mere fact that she would be a right-wing grifter still, for me, files her under idiot moron. The different kind of idiot moron, a different level, smarter than that other stupid fuck
more
face.
tactical idiot moron.
More strategic. But still, anyone I think who endorses conservative ideology in any way is
an idiot
a
moron.
fucking idiot.
I don't know.
It's rude. Elon Musk wanting to purchase Twitter is not about left versus right. It's about white power. The man was raised
Fuck you.
apartheid by a white nationalist. He's upset that Twitter won't allow white nationalists to target, harass people. That's his definition of free speech.
And I'll say that this tweet is a little too specific
It's
for
too
me.
much,
I don't think this claim can be backed up well enough with evidence until this actually happens on Twitter.
The principle makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah, we can't back this one up completely.
No. Not to mention that it came from Sean King, who is
So like questionable guy.
problematic guy.
Is this considered like a black on black crime? Because Sean King is attacking an African American with this tweet. So honestly, he should be censored according to Twitter's old rules. This is
because Musk is from South Africa, so she's using African American.
So she's saying African American.
Yeah, she's just being a disingenuous shithead.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, cool.
Oh, interesting, Eric. The Backstreet Project webisodes. We'll have to look into that.
We'll take a looky.
Yeah.
amazing that no matter what happens, they will always try to grasp onto something surrounding race, something surrounding white supremacy, bigotry, patriarchy, all these.
And to be fair, there are people, and I think Sean King probably does do this quite often, where there are some people who need to tie everything to a question of race, where I don't think it's always valid. Though most standards in America are to some extent informed by racism.
We're a country that is founded on racism.
I will acknowledge that there are people on the left who sometimes, from my view, too quickly tie everything to white supremacy or race issues. But I'd say it's very rare compared to the people who very legitimately tie things to legitimate race issues.
Yeah, even more so, I just see examples of people tying intentional racism to things that are unintentionally or ignorantly racist.
Totally.
And that's a big problem. It's important for people to have a very good baseline education of what is and isn't a product of racism, but to tie intentional racism onto things that are not necessarily intentionally racist, that can be damaging. But that's not what she's speaking to.
Yeah, and Sean King is like the fact that he's saying that like Elon's like he's framing it like Elon's number one goal is to create greater freedom of speech for white nationalists specifically, and I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah.
I think he's much more interested in suppressing criticism of himself and helping guys like Donald Trump who are good for Musk's business. Right.
And Ragnat's welcome back. Very funny. And Clappy, I get it.
Yep, totally agree, Clappy.
It is, it's a stupid thing to say. It's dumb.
He's fun.
The Macarena.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little buzzwords and isms and obias that they like to grasp onto in order to hold on to the narrative.
Phobia.
Obias.
Phobia.
Also, like, while we're often saying, like, people should learn what words mean, also really helpful, just in general, like, to have a good linguistic understanding of the world, learn a little bit of Latin. A little bit. Not like I know barely, but just like a little bit so that you understand, like, roots and suffixes and that, like, that phobia is the thing and not obia.
Obia? Like, it's actually pretty cool when you hear a word and you look up its etymology.
Yeah.
It's fun facts. Learn some cool stuff.
And it's a great way that you can, like, you know, if you're listening to someone and you don't have a dictionary on hand and they use a word you don't already know, there's a good chance you can at least decipher a general understanding of the word based on a understanding of Latin and context clues combined. So it's just a useful thing to know.
Oh yeah, it's one of the most useful things that came out of my philosophy degree. Is I can usually determine what words I don't know mean now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so useful. It's a great skill.
Because it's all built on Latin.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Narrative. And guess what? This didn't hold water. The reason I'm showing you a screenshot of this tweet rather than the actual tweet itself is because it's not on Twitter anymore. Because you can't get away with saying this stuff. And you won't be able to anymore on a platform that
She's saying that this tweet from Sean King is going to be banned on a new version of Twitter.
Because you can't get away with saying this stuff? Did we hear the same thing? Can we hear it again? On her free speech, everyone, listen in. On the platform of free speech.
to grasp onto in order to hold onto the narrative. And guess what? This didn't hold water. The reason I'm showing you a screenshot of this tweet rather than the actual tweet itself is because it's not on Twitter anymore.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Because
Wait,
you
she's
can't
saying
get
Twitter
away with
ban.
saying this stuff.
Oh, maybe
And
she's...
Okay.
you won't be able to anymore on a platform that actually honors people's right to an opinion.
No, yeah, she's saying exactly what we
she's-
think she's saying.
So she's affirming that Twitter deleted this tweet.
And that,
That's good.
yes. And that you won't get away with saying this shit anymore because you need to let people say what they want to
But
say.
also you didn't before because Twitter before Musk banned that tweet, deleted that tweet. So
She's saying you can't say this shit on free speech
commending.
Twitter.
She's commending the
Yeah,
existing
yeah.
TOS that she just spent this whole video shitting on, and now saying that the new TOS is going to follow the same guidelines. So
Of
what?
silencing these people. I
Yeah,
hate that word.
right.
Of
deleting tweets from these people.
From these people.
Yeah.
So that you can uphold absolute freedom of speech.
Truly,
I just want to be clear. Casey and I are missing something, right? You guys are hearing this.
Yeah.
This is insane.
No, like conservative brains are literally turned inside out. Like they live in opposite land, and it's very frustrating to witness.
Clappy makes a great point. African American is explicitly used when describing people who
Right.
lost their ethnicity and culture. Yeah.
Just no, totally, yeah, yeah.
And that's apparently a banning from Twitter that this one would support.
Yeah.
So
And I can't wait for all of this to come to fruition. Of course, I'm waiting with bated breath to see if Elon actually is a man of his word, and all of these things do play out.
Hey, the fact that she'll even like acknowledge the possibility that he might not follow through is
That's cool.
a little more
better than the shit that she's been
than
saying.
a lot of shit she's been saying. That's like a little grounded, at least.
In the way that we would like them to play out. But if they do, think about the broader implication here. Because a lot of people I'm seeing in the comments of these videos and of these posts and news stories saying, well, what's the big deal? Twitter's one platform out of, 10 major platforms where people are doing this stuff, and I don't know why we're cheering on some billionaire buying out this platform. Well, think about the power that Twitter has. Twitter can influence
Before she babbles about this, yes, Ragnats.
Yeah, good point. That's
Very funny.
perfect point.
elections. It influences political thought. It influences culture. It influences what's trending in our brains, in our conversations, in our arguments and debates with our peers and family members. It has a stronghold on the American mind in a lot of ways. The people at Twitter right now, in its current board and administration, get to wake up in the morning, look at the news and what's happening, and decide what you get to hear from it. And not only that,
On their platform. They don't get to decide what you get to hear from it across reality. If you want news, go to AP, go to Reuters. You shouldn't be getting your news from Twitter, first of all. Anyone.
Yeah.
Go to Twitter for commentary of wildly varying quality.
It's just super short op-eds.
Like, Twitter is not blocking any news.
This is like the most bullshit nonsense.
Yeah, no,
she's
she's
saying.
so
As
full of
soon as
shit.
she said,
So
the second she said, I can't, like, I know on the new Twitter he won't be able to say things like this.
Yeah.
Everything she says goes out the window.
Right. No, she didn't.
She completely contradicted her entire argument.
Yeah.
Everything else she says from here on out is bullshit.
Yeah, and going like Ragnat's pointed out, the title of unapologetic, like, oh, so you get to be unapologetic, but like Sean King needs to apologize.
Decide the opinion and the lens that you get to hear that news from. And for so long, we have been dealing with it. The COVID narrative is a brilliant example of this. You know, Twitter has its little COVID bar when you go to the trending page and the explore page on Twitter. And throughout that is just propaganda. And in a lot of ways...
And so obviously right-wingers are the ones who've been pushing COVID propaganda on Twitter. There was that whole thing about like when Trump got banned, Twitter or COVID disinformation like plummeted around the world. Like, again, it's just projection. Like pretty much...
You cannot claim propaganda when you're running a propaganda channel.
Yeah, anytime you watch PragerU, you can
can't.
pretty safely assume that whatever they're saying about anything ever is the direct opposite of reality. Like really, if PragerU
planet are these people living
says, you know, today, someone says, you know, like, yeah, like, I don't know, I ate a pumpkin. What actually happened was they were eaten by a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Like truly, it is going to be the direct opposite. They,
Well,
like
you
I
just
said before,
generally
they
follow
live
the rules of projection.
right. They live in opposite world.
It's opposite day. I was thinking of SpongeBob.
And yes, Clappy69, Elon is notorious for breaking promises.
So, you know, let's hope he breaks this one, I guess.
false and
Right.
misleading information that just leads you to the conclusion that they want you to have.
Who's
and
they? The leftists?
every day Twitter
Yeah.
gets to do that to you.
Well, I think she
And
means the owners of Twitter. I think this is not
okay.
a vague they. She did
Okay.
open this up
Okay,
as
okay,
these
okay.
people at
No, I
Twitter.
wanna
They
be
wake
clear.
up every
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
Millions and millions of people use Twitter. More people than represent the U.S. population use Twitter and log in to see what's going on. And a lot of people use it as their primary news source.
Yeah, because
Is that
Twitter is not exclusive to the United States. But anyway.
concerning? Moderately, mildly concerning. Knowing what we know.
Well, at least she acknowledges that it's bad to use Twitter as a news source, but I think now she's about to say that it will be a good news source once Elon does
Let's
his
see.
thing.
About who controls it and what they would like you to know. I would say actually more than moderately concerning. It's very concerning.
And then she goes on this whole rant about like, oh, people, these owners of Twitter, they wake up in the morning and decide what you get to know or not. Isn't Elon just going to do that now? Why is it bad with the current leadership, but good with your leadership? And again, the answer is because conservatives don't care about freedom of speech for people at large. They care about their freedom of speech. They don't care about human rights. They care about conservative rights. It's all divine rights of king bullshit.
Concerning that people use that as their main source of news. But think about that power shifting and you actually getting a whole spectrum of opinions on a news story. Can you imagine?
Like Sean King's opinion? I don't know.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon
It's
as she said that,
really-
everything else from here on out goes out the window.
Yeah, and
it's all garbage.
Yeah, all jokes aside, it's just disgusting. It's
Yeah.
just this is a disgusting person on a disgusting channel
PragerU is
doing disgusting
horrible.
things. This is
Are we going to
scum.
keep watching them? Yes, because I feel like we have an ethical duty to
Yeah.
rip these fuckers to shreds.
You can't ignore fascism into submission. If people are putting out fascist propaganda, debunk it.
Yeah.
Or else a bunch of average people are just going to believe it.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I think a lot of people, especially Americans, they really build their belief system on just whatever I've heard people say the most.
Yeah.
That's what most Americans' value systems are built on.
Yeah.
So if you take this strategy to propagandists of like ignoring them and like not giving them oxygen, they just get to speak freely with no one debunking them, and then a bunch of Americans hear it, and then they don't hear any debunking, so they go like, "This sounds pretty true. It looks like they have money. They have a nice set, and she's dressed nice, so probably true." So
I mean,
please.
anyone with taste doesn't think this is a nice
Well,
set.
no, of course not.
But you know, yes, I get what you're saying,
Yes,
100%.
yes.
It's very strange to even think that that open discourse and like a fair playing field is actually a reality we can have on social media these days.
Just the endless pit of straw man arguments.
It's such a bullshit lie.
Yeah.
How do you think half of this non-fake information that we've been getting is spread? Fucking Facebook.
Yes.
Like, what? I can't wait until there's a social media platform where people can say things that they're thinking. That's literally what social media is. Like,
Yeah. And what they really want is not the freedom to say what they think. They want the power to say what they think without consequence.
That's what it is.
That's what they want.
That's what they want.
Because it's been so long since it was even like an idea that you could imagine a world where there isn't suppression of views. That
It's been so long since it was even an idea.
Yeah, Casey. Get with the program.
The world just is a bunch of people wandering around like they can't even imagine an open forum. Like the hyperbole at play here.
It's fear-mongering. It's on purpose.
It's total, yeah.
It's 100%
fear-mongering
on purpose.
propaganda.
It's all on purpose.
that undercut the approved narrative on social media, and now for all we can tell, that's going to be what Twitter is, and that's just like. It's like utopia is here.
Utopia
Yeah,
is
we're allowed
here.
to have.
Utopia.
Kim, there's people that are dying.
There are people starving.
Utopia is here?
Sick, homeless. Oh, but spoiled white brats, and black too, obviously with her. Spoiled fucking brats, upper class brats.
Utopia
Can say
is
whatever
here.
they want on Twitter,
Oh
and
my
now Utopia
God.
is here.
Oh god, a puke in my mouth. Disgusting.
What a definition of utopia.
That's literally their thing.
Yeah.
have an opinion again, and I love seeing people on Twitter. The hashtag Elon buys Twitter is trending, and RIP Twitter, a whole spectrum of opinions. Wow, when have we ever had that on Twitter before? What a beautiful thing. And
Is this getting
literally,
worse?
She's pretending like the day before Elon bought it.
There was never a trending.
It was just like an endless stream of like leftists saying, "Tell me your gender. Tell me your pronoun. Say your pronouns." That's all Twitter was say your pronouns.
Yeah.
And then the day Elon bought it, suddenly everyone could speak freely, even though he hasn't changed any policies on the site yet. They're still operating on the same terms of service they were the day before.
Utopia is here, Casey.
Oh.
Oh my god, this is getting weird. I want to hear more because they're just digging themselves into a deeper hole.
people are going out and tweeting out all the things that they couldn't say before for fear of being banned. Like, there are two genders and affirmative action is wrong, and maybe we should judge people based on the content of their character and not their skin color, and people are...
What gets you banned on Twitter right now is exactly what got you banned on Twitter 4 days ago.
It's not changing yet.
He hasn't changed anything
I look
yet.
at as far as the eye can see. 2 genders. This is unbelievable. What stupid fucking liars. Ew.
Ivermectin tweet out there, a couple of those.
People are feeling comfortable to say what...
And ivermectin, for anyone who didn't see, the big scientific study came out that ivermectin does not
it came
cure
out?
COVID. Wasn't it ivermectin, or am I thinking of another drug that was just recently the study came out?
Well, there was... I don't know. Ivermectin is the horse dewormer that
Yes.
also comes in a human pill. And
Yes.
a lot of right-wingers were like, we're talking about the human pill. I'm like, well, not all of you are buying the human pill, so...
Well, it's hard to get the human pill. It's a lot easier to get the horse
It's a lot
paste.
easier to get the horse dewormer, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what the study came out about. Do you want to
Yes,
look
here-
first? Oh, you found
New
it?
York Times, ivermectin does not reduce risk of COVID hospitalization, large study finds.
Cool.
A new study, which looked at more than 1,300 people infected with the coronavirus, effectively ruled out ivermectin as a useful treatment for COVID, the researchers said.
Crazy. But that's from New York Times, so we can't trust the New York Times.
Yeah, I mean, right-wingers need the right to say whatever stupid, wrong shit they want in public ad nauseum, or else, I mean, it's just...
Right. We've said this
It's
before.
oppression.
There's a difference between saying a certain news network is feeding you lies and every news network except this news network is feeding you lies.
Yeah.
And that's what the right does. They're saying everybody but Fox News is feeding you lies.
Right.
And there's a big difference. Your claim is a lot more absurd.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyways.
they actually think. Can you imagine that being reality? That I can actually go on the internet and say what I would actually like to say and what I actually stand behind without fear of being completely deplatformed.
You have a show, you fucking shit.
She has a show.
I can't believe that today I can actually go on the internet and see what I think.
You're on the internet
You do it
saying
every day.
what you think, ma'am.
It's your job.
You're saying what you think right now.
No one has kicked you off the internet, sadly. You're still here being stupid and wrong. So what are you talking about?
She's just fucking bullshitting.
I know, it's just pure fucking horseshit.
What a
insane.
beautiful thing
What
that
a
is.
beautiful.
To
Also
represent
learn
what
more words than beautiful
America
and
was actually
amazing.
founded on instead
Also,
of this mangled.
I just the connection with it being beautiful and saying there are only two genders. What a beautiful reality where I can completely invalidate entire people's experience. Oh, such a utopia is here. It's
That's-
like
That's the conservative definition of
God,
beauty.
Disgusting.
Beauty, truth, freedom.
You know, penis havers, don't be too beautiful.
Yeah.
Or then that'll get them angry again.
disgusting, authoritarian, totalitarian, normal, new normal that we've been so used to in today's day and age. So for me, that's why it's a big deal. And of course, I would love to see the same thing happen with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And that's the point that a lot of conservatives are making, that this does not mean it's the end of the battle. There's still more ground that we need to win.
The battle.
Sure. But this is a big win. This is huge because Twitter, like I said, sets the landscape in a lot of ways for the discourse that we have. It's where you see all these blue check marks. It's where a lot of our legislators and politicians are listening to people's opinions and seeing the news and looking at what's happening in the world. And for a long time, it's been very one-sided, and we haven't been able to have an
No,
opinion.
it hasn't.
Twitter one-sided.
Oh my god. That's not true.
She just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. She's
It's
wrong.
Bullshit.
We know she's wrong.
She's
Now,
wrong. We know she's
we're in a
wrong.
day and
Everyone
age
just listen to
that
her talk herself
we
into a hole.
can
She's a
hopefully
fucking idiot.
if she just,
Elon
I'm not going to comment. If she just keeps saying the same thing over and over again, we're going to stop
we're
because
just-
this
yeah.
is just.
Say
She's
something
literally
new.
saying the same wrong thing over and over and over again with different wording.
stands by his word, which I imagine when you put $44 billion behind that word, there's a little bit of an incentive to stand behind it, especially when you are banking on people coming back to the platform and deciding to use it again after leaving. I'm wondering if we'll get a one former president back on the platform. We
He said he wouldn't. He said no.
shall
Well, she
see.
doesn't
I know there's been
research.
back and forth. Some people saying it's not going to happen, and even the former.
The
Some
guy,
people.
the guy
He
who
said
bought
it's
it,
not going to happen.
the guy who owns it now said it's not going to happen.
So
Also, Trump said he didn't want to go back.
that's
on
what I'm
Twitter.
saying. She's like, I don't know. Some people here and there are talking about how it might not happen. Trump said it wouldn't happen.
And the guy who owns Twitter now said it wouldn't happen.
So
Still could. I'm not saying it couldn't, but like just
it's just like,
misrepresentation of everything.
what
president
are you
himself
talking
saying he
about?
will not be joining, but you never know what's
Okay, she
gonna
acknowledged.
happen.
She
I
said
think
he's not
people
gonna do
begging
it.
for mean tweets. I saw Mark Levin tweet out today that he's back on Twitter and joining again. We also might see the likes of Babylon Bee, Project Veritas, and a new winning streak for Libs of TikTok, who was recently doxxed by Taylor Lorenz of the Washington Post. So I'm just excited to see what comes out of the woodwork in this new announcement and in this new deal, and just how much it changed the landscape. And for all I know, it doesn't at all, but I have a feeling that it does, which leads me to
Again, at least she acknowledged it might not change at all.
She's had quite a few moments on this where she's acknowledged that like other humans in the world exist.
Yeah, it's rare,
You know,
but every
it
now and
happens.
then.
She sprinkles it in sometimes.
the question of, really, is the pendulum swinging back for us? Because I have to think about what the left has on its side and what the left has lost.
Okay.
Lost
Yeah,
the
this'll
COVID
be
narrative. Because in
We lost the COVID narrative? Is that what she said? They lost the
Yes.
COVID narrative?
The majority of Americans
I just...
believed what scientists told them throughout the pandemic. Yeah, she did. That is yes, Ragnats.
It's because she doesn't know what words mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and also Casey and I, just like as a concept, don't support doxing. We don't support Libs of TikTok doing it, and I'm, you know what? I'm gonna speak for myself.
Yeah.
I don't support doxing. as a general concept. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna dox LGBTQ teachers and someone's like, hey, here's their house, they'll throw some shit at it. You know,
that's the thing. I'm not going to say there's no doxing I could get behind, because there probably are specific scenarios where I would approve personally.
Yeah.
But most cases, I'm opposed.
Yes.
In many ways, we are all back to normal. I'm even seeing people in LA going back to their normal lives, although we do have the stragglers that are holding on to the mask.
Oh, right. And she was saying the COVID narrative. So they didn't.
Oh, so because, like, we loosened up on mask mandates?
Because eventually we dropped the mandates, or
what, 2 years
officials
later?
dropped the mandates
Over
that
2
they
years
said would
later?
always be dropped.
Like, she's like, the conservatives won! Like,
So the
no.
only way that leftists could have won that narrative is if the pandemic went on indefinitely.
I guess
for all
so.
time, I guess.
Because that's what they think the leftists want. That's an argument of the conservatives.
Right.
That we love that, like, we're horny for the pandemic.
Right.
We love seeing our families and friends die.
Yeah. Great
And,
stuff.
looking at everybody as germs and wearing their masks and hand sanitizer on their planes and all that. And all.
Some people are still looking at everybody's germs.
Once again, does she know what words mean?
Yeah, I know I keep saying, like, she's smarter than most PragerU, but she's still, she's
this
fucking
video
dumb.
is actually shifting that for me.
I agree.
She's said a lot of stupid
She's pretty
shit.
fucking bad at talking.
It's word salad. She's
Yeah.
just like saying things to say them.
And tons of redundancy.
all that fun stuff. But for the most part, people are back to normal life, and I don't think we're going to see a resurgence of this COVID narrative that is strong enough to get people back in their houses, not to take them out of school, to have them closed.
It's not a resurgence of the COVID narrative. It's a resurgence of COVID-19.
Shut down their businesses. I don't think they can rely on that anymore. BLM, for the most part, has been exposed as, some mansion-buying millionaires who used your donation money for their own personal benefit and who seem to love capitalism outside of their protests of it. So the Black Lives...
And again, worth noting that you can be anti-capitalist and also make money and buy things.
Yeah, we don't want no one to be rich. We want everyone to be rich.
Yes.
In a manner of speaking.
Yes, and if you think it's weird for people to spend money on a house, well, abolish capitalism.
Yeah.
And then no one would ever spend money on houses.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to deal with any of this. So
yeah.
Just a thought.
Lives Matter narrative and the whole race relations thing is crumbling too. We're also seeing that in the fight against critical race theory, where parents are coming out of the woodwork to stand
coming
up.
out of the woodwork. There she goes.
Such, it's
there she goes.
Ragnatz's point that is framing yourself as pests. And B, get a bigger vocabulary, please.
If you're gonna say isms, I thought she hated isms.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use isms, use the good ones. Use correct ones, and have a variety.
Especially it's your
have
job.
A variety of isms.
It's your job to talk all day. Learn words, please.
God.
For their children in public education. We're seeing this in corporations as well. People going, you know what? I don't want to work for a corporation that hates me and hates my values anymore. And I certainly don't want to be made out to be an oppressor or, with people of color, oppressed in my day-to-day workplace. I built the merit, I built the academic standing to be in the position that I'm in, and I'm here. And I don't want to hear that I'm a victim or somebody who's oppressing somebody else. So I feel as though that's dying. And it's very simple to let that die out because there's so much more to people than race. And I think most people with common sense can understand that. Universities are dying, not just with people who are conservative, but with people who are on the left.
Abolish universities.
Universities are dying?
Universities are dying. Okay. All right. I guess.
No evidence, but okay.
All right.
Cool,
Universities are dying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Conservatives, because we don't want the indoctrination that comes along with the universities and the college education. And leftists, because they don't want that
We don't want college education.
tuition payment that comes along with it whatsoever.
Oh my
and it
God.
turns out the whole Student Loan Forgiveness Act is not working anymore. And it hasn't happened,
God,
even though we've gotten that promise.
She's awful
I hate
person.
her.
I hate her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Before she pissed
Scum.
me off, now I'm
No,
having
she's-
trouble making eye contact.
She's a villain.
She is bad.
She's a
She's
human
a bad
plague.
guy, y'all.
I mean, most people on PragerU are human plagues.
No, I really don't like her at all.
Truly awful.
She's a bad person.
Yeah, loathe her.
Wow.
For years and years and years on end. Where is that student loan forgiveness of those trillions of dollars that people have in debt to the U.S. government? So, university
Government! So much of the student loan debt is to private companies, but let's not talk about that.
universities are dying too. Really, what do they have left? I don't know. Taylor, any...
I mean, did you mention Disney and Netflix too? That they're
Oh,
What do we have left? We're right. We're smarter than you. And we're morally superior. So we still have that.
yeah, tanking. Because it turns out people make entertainment subscriptions to be entertained. And they don't
Yeah, subscribe to us. We're funny. We like to talk about poops and farts and butts and
Yes.
abolishing capitalism. Follow us.
want political ideology folded in with that entertainment as much as some fringe small group wants to be loud and fight for it and try to sneak it in there. They don't want it. Just like with CNN Plus, they don't want to pay extra money to be lied to every single month. People are done shelling out their dollars for whatever opinion or whatever narrative you want. They want their values to be represented, or at the very least to just leave values out of it as much as you can.
Leave values out of it.
Guys, values, get rid of them.
Yeah.
No values.
Can we just start living our life with no values?
You have to distinguish what values you're speaking about. You can't just say eliminate values. Are we missing something here?
I want to just get the exact
I'll
definition
put it
of
on
value.
the computer. Here. Value definition.
The regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something.
So
can we just stop thinking that anything is important, deserving, worthy, or useful?
Or,
Isn't there a way?
person's principles or standards of behavior. So no standards of behavior. Eliminate values.
Yeah, so I guess then I can just walk into this woman's house and piss in her eyes. Because no more values. And she has to go, thank you, or she has to just sit there. No, thank you either, because
No,
that would be a
thank you,
value.
'cause that's value.
Then she'd be
That's a
value.
value
No.
judgment.
She
Yeah,
just has
yeah.
to sit there catatonic as I piss in her eyes.
Hashtag cancel values.
Yeah,
2022.
if she wants to live in a world with no values. Fucking scumbag.
Oh my god. Yikes. God, she's making me so mad.
And get to the part where you entertain them and give them what they actually paid for. So all these strongholds that the left has maintained on media, entertainment, education, big tech.
She meant stranglehold. It
Yeah.
took me a second.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
stronghold they have?
Stranglehold. Once
Oh.
again, learn what words mean,
Yes,
please,
got it.
before you go on your show that you're getting paid to be on, you
to
fucking
do words.
idiots.
You get paid to do words.
Paid to say words.
Add a dictionary to your fucking shelf in the back there, please. Get rid of the fucking the plant pot with a feather in it and get a dictionary instead.
I can't believe this shit.
Seemingly dwindling. And I bet that they're all struggling. I would love to have been a fly on the wall at that Twitter board meeting to see exactly what they were saying and how they came
You'd probably be
to
bored.
come to
Yeah.
this deal, because I can only imagine there were some very heated conversations surrounding allowing this man to own their platform.
There may have been some heated conversations. I think it was mostly like, it's like I'd rather not, but
I
we
think
do
it-
get a bunch of money,
That's
so
what
let's
I
take
think
the
it
money.
was. I think it was financial. I
Yeah.
think the heatedness was probably financial, not like, but the free speech
Yes.
guy is gonna come in
Right.
and the leftists are gonna be That's not what was happening in those meetings. I'm gonna tell you right now with full confidence, that's
Yeah,
not what was
no.
going on.
They weren't going. They're gonna steal our value-based society and replace it with utopia.
Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest shareholders were like Vanguard and a Saudi prince. These are not people who are concerned with upholding the values of free speech. And
We're gonna talk shit on Saudi princes when you're a right winger, when every president. I mean, generally liberal presidents too. Like everyone's fucking in bed with the Saudis. Are you kidding me?
and money, power is more important to them than money. And so I don't think
Yep.
they did this voluntarily. I think they did the math and talked.
Power is more important to them
Then
than
money.
money.
What does money buy you?
Power. Under capitalism, money is power. Literally, one of the tenets of capitalism is reducing all power to your bank account. Like,
This
what?
is like I'm feeling like exhausted. Like my heartbeat is slowing down. Like I
Yeah.
just like this is
maybe he means
exhausting.
maybe he means like influence over money.
Like the power to
Because
distribute
like you can have
where
you
other
can have
people's
very
money
you can
goes?
no you can have very little money, but you can have a lot of influence.
Okay.
So I'm saying maybe he means by power he means. I mean, I'm trying to be charitable for some reason.
Yeah.
But what he probably means is my brain is a pile of dog turds, and here's some diarrhea coming out of my mouth. That's probably what he means.
Yeah. There's your entertainment, guys.
Yeah.
Talked to their lawyers, and we're like, can we refuse to sell this to Elon, or are we going to get sued, or are we going to have to go to court over like not fulfilling our fiduciary duty to act in the best interests of the company's finances and the best interests of the shareholders? I think that's the only reason that they would give this up, because if Twitter is such an important part of the pie chart of how the mainstream narrative is upheld.
Yep.
Controlling the conversation on Twitter and the algorithm and what people see and who you can ban and who you can kick off and what stories you can bury right in front of elections. All those things are a huge part of their stranglehold over upholding the
He said stranglehold.
Good
for him.
mainstream narrative. Those are in capital letters, the mainstream narrative. And in addition to the Disney, and it's all over Hollywood, it's all over universities, it's all those across institutions, the left has been able to instill this ideology, and they enforce that from the top down. And Elon Musk taking away Twitter, which is the de facto town square public forum for where ideas are discussed, where the news is discussed.
That's
in
true.
The Western world, especially in America, by Elon Musk taking that away from them, it makes it a lot more difficult to uphold it. You know, I thought of I was talking with Scott today, and I brought up the quote from Joseph Goebbels, who was Hitler's propaganda minister, and he said, if you repeat a lie enough times, often enough and loud enough, people will
Say it again.
PragerU
Slowly. Listen to yourself.
PragerU,
Take your own advice.
PragerU is the modern Joseph Goebbels.
Dennis
Prager is Joseph Goebbels.
This is unbelievable. Also,
of modern America.
He just acknowledged that Twitter is this like giant public forum where people air grievances or whatever they do. He's acknowledging that there is a conversation already being had on Twitter. Because the picture that they've been painting these entire, fucking 20 minutes has been like, the conservatives are silenced and the leftists rule the world.
Right.
But he just acknowledged that that's not the case, that they are fear-mongering, this is lying, this is bullshit.
Well, yeah, and the only way in which they are correct in leftists ruling the world is that right-wingers are a minority. You know, the number of Americans who worship Donald Trump make up about 20% of the U.S. population. So I get, to some extent, why they feel like the world is ruled by leftists, because leftists use facts and you put leverage those facts towards actions that actually function.
I don't know.
So yes, I mean, especially if you consider the left to also include liberals, as PragerU generally does, then yes, definitely the left does rule the world in numbers, but unfortunately, the actual people who rule the world are a handful of super wealthy people.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're not leftists.
Yes, they're all right-wingers.
So those guys actually rule the world.
Leftists dominate the world as a
in
population.
Numbers, yeah.
But,
looking at this in a very utilitarian,
yes.
But
right-wingers rule the world through capitalism.
Yes.
getting confused with the truth. But that requires ubiquity. You have to be able to say that everywhere and say it constantly. And now if Twitter's an open forum and people can
He just said Twitter was an open forum, but okay.
And people can actually call out lies and speak the truth. You've got a problem if you're trying to enforce propaganda everywhere. And that's happening in the midst of all these other L's that the mainstream left is taking. And it's like, what's happening?
Yep, take the L's, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to read the comments.
Ouch.
You take the her fucking, it's like the Nazi laugh. It's that disingenuous, it's so funny that you're losing.
Yeah. Oh, I love to see libs cry.
Yeah, as she is a member of a lunatic fringe minority.
I want to read this from Abel Ocampo. He says, "Lies may work for a while, but the truth will eventually rise to the top." And that seems to be the case because we fought really hard through the censorship, through the deep
How did you fight?
No. Look up the word censorship, I
You
beg
fought? What did you fight?
What are you fighting?
How did you fight?
You're getting paid to be on a podcast in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
And-
Who are you fighting?
Well, and also, Elon is taking over Twitter. It's just like it's one rich guy deciding to take over Twitter. It's not like the culmination of a fight, a battle for free speech. It's just one right-wing businessman dickhead happened to get a wild hair in his ass to buy Twitter.
Forming through the cancel culture to at least have one person out there telling the truth. And we were persistent, and this goes to show how important your persistence is, because
And Ragnet's, I think, Clappy, you're referring to their thing about its Goebbels, right? I mean, it's fine if you want to, like, I push back. I think calling Dennis Prager a modern Joseph Goebbels is apropos, personally. And I don't think
I don't think we're
disagreeing with
comparing.
that, but we're
I don't
open-
think anyone should compare anything to the Holocaust that isn't the Holocaust.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's like, yeah, that's why I'll be a lot
general.
more specific. I think there's a big difference with comparing a modern big-time propagandist to a big-time propagandist from Nazi Germany versus comparing it to, it's not a Holocaust.
No, not at all.
Not yet.
Yeah.
If Dennis Prager and Prager University succeed in their goals, there might be a Holocaust or 2 or 3. But we're not there yet. But he is behaving like a Goebbels.
in a lot of ways, these ideologues, they bank everything they have on the fact that they can demoralize you from stepping out and saying the truth as much as you possibly can.
Now this, I mean, not demoralize them from telling the truth, but I do want to demoralize them from telling lies. So for me personally, that is a fair accusation. I do want to demoralize you. I want every current conservative to either give up on life and lay down and not speak ever again, or stop being a conservative. Those are the healthy options, in my view, for conservative behavior.
Even in the wake of being canceled and punched down and pushed down every single time you try to. So big kudos to the people who are persistent on these platforms and saying, no, you can cancel me, but I'm coming back. You can cancel me, but I'm coming back.
If you have the opportunity to come back, you're not canceled. Holy fuck.
You can cancel me if you want, but I won't be canceled.
You can,
What?
Hey, you can silence me, but I'm gonna keep speaking.
Excuse me?
What?
Can you suspend me, but I'm coming back. And I'm going to say the same thing over and over and over again as loud as I can until somebody hears it. And guess who heard? A very important person. And that was Elon Musk. And after putting out that poll saying, do you think Twitter is upholding free speech? And getting over 70% of people saying no, look at the move that was made. This is why your persistence and standing up.
I want to be clear. Is that a thing that happened? Over 70% of people said Twitter is not upholding free speech. I want to know what the sample size was.
No, it was Elon's Twitter poll. So of course, 70% of Elon's Twitter followers, yes, that's what she's citing.
That's not a study.
She's citing a Twitter poll.
That's not a study.
And coming out of the closet with whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
Oh, absolutely. No, totally agree with that. And that's what I.
And you're also allowed to be confrontational with us about certain things.
No,
if you think we're misinformed, or if you think we're like making intuitive leaps that we shouldn't be making, we invite any of our listeners, whether you agree with us politically or not, to be confrontational. That's the point.
This goes for everyone.
Oh yeah,
yes,
this
please.
goes for everyone.
Anytime if you think,
but we also just wanted to clarify.
If you think we're being hyperbolic, or if you think we are misrepresenting,
I love
facts,
a good hyperbole,
or
really
anything, you know. Then we always want to hear that feedback and discuss.
Oh, for sure.
Values you have is really, really important, and people don't recognize how important it is. So many people are so happy, or at least complacent, in being silent, and your voice matters. It does.
And it's funny, I actually agree with all this, just flipped on its head.
As a
for
whatever.
leftism, yeah.
Oh, look, our best friend Coco Loco He's back. Oh, what is coming? I want to know what you think is coming.
Tell us your prediction.
Because isn't the whole point that everyone should be allowed to say what they want? So, I mean, not much is going to change for us.
Yeah, I guess.
So, best get ready for the next few years.
Based on Twitter, okay.
Okay, I'm excited.
Well, be more specific, Coco Loco. Give us the whole prediction.
Give us the prediction.
Get out your crystal ball and give us your whole idea of the future. We want to get really get it down on the record so that when you're very wrong about a bunch of it, we can hold you to account to your freedom of speech.
The next few years.
Yeah.
I want to know what this utopian next few years is
Looks like
to you.
to a right-winger, utopia.
Turning Twitter, if they actually go along, or Elon actually goes along with this whole free speech, no rules thing.
Yeah.
Turning Twitter into 4chan. I mean.
Yeah.
What is winning for you?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Well, no, just give us a window into your conservative utopia, your right-wing utopia. Paint a picture for us.
Oh,
use
he's in
your
DMs.
use your huge vocabulary.
Great.
And your talent for poetic language to paint a picture for us.
Yeah.
Of your right-wing utopia that's going to come in the next few
curious.
years.
What do you actually want?
Yes, please.
I'm
Put it on the record.
curious
I
what you
dare
guys actually
you.
want.
I dare you to make a prediction and risk being wrong.
Yeah.
You may not think it does whatsoever. It truly does. And Dennis has this great speech that he does, and he closes out by saying you can be one of three people. You can be a fighter who's constantly out there taking on the battles and fighting as hard as they can and using all your energy to do that. Or you can be somebody who supports the fighters, which is just as important, because everybody who does this needs support. They need people pushing for them. They need people advocating for them. Or you can be the third person, which most people are the third person, and that's the person who does nothing. They're completely apathetic. They sit on the sidelines. They watch. They may have their opinions, but they don't state.
Just real quick, is this guy making your life miserable, Clappy69? Because we don't support that.
Yeah, no, if they're giving you
If it's
shit.
funny, that's fine.
Yeah.
Feel free to block him. And if you keep doing this shit, Coco Loco, not only we're gonna ban you, we're gonna report you, because
For
you're being a
harassing.
fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the fact that we challenged you and you immediately ran away to someone
Someone's
else's DMs is really pathetic and cowardly.
Get a life, honestly.
Are you trying to look like a coward in public?
Because you can still come on our Discord.
Yeah, come on our Discord.
You can bully us.
Come bully us.
Come into our voice
Let's
DMs.
talk about it. We can hear all your opinions about the next 3 years and
Okay,
what's
good,
going to
good.
happen.
If you think it's funny, that's fine.
Okay, cool, good. Let us know if that changes, Clappy69.
Oh, Replica Fox, you came back at the perfect time. Some
Yes,
dumb
yeah.
idiot came in and was being a dumb
Said
idiot.
a bunch of stupid things. We asked them a few simple questions, and then they ran away to Clappy69's DMs. So anyway, again, Coco he what's the name again?
Coco Loco hee
Coco Loco hee.
We already have a hee hee that we like in here.
Yes, as far as he's go.
As far as the
But
hees
Coco
go.
Loco hee, please come on Discord. Come on, let's have a conversation.
Come
you
on
can
our
just you can just
Discord.
rip into
I will
us.
send the link.
Rip into us with all your unassailable right-wing talking points.
Please, tell us all about your utopia. I'm desperate to know.
We can't wait to learn about your fantasies.
Your fantasies
Please.
of grandeur.
Please, Coco Loco hee, please share your fantasies with us.
Maybe he is his pronouns, exactly. This is the specific Discord for people like you, Coco Loco hee.
Oh my gosh.
come
One of
talk to
these
us.
days, a right-winger is going to have
Please,
enough
I'm literally
of a,
begging you.
One of these days, a right-winger is going to have enough of a spine to actually come on Discord.
Now
no,
he's
spamming
Eric. Great. Does he think he's funny? Does he think this shit is funny?
No, he's just trying to get a rise out of people.
Oh, well,
unfortunately.
you picked the wrong crowd.
I'd rather have a conversation and learn about all the dumb things you believe, but okay.
Yeah. He is trying to have his moment. Listen, if you guys need to block him, please do.
Yeah, feel free, obviously.
I think spamming 2 people is enough to ban him. So I think you know what?
Yeah, if you're gonna come in our
lost your
chat and
chance.
start DMing harassment at people and ignore our requests, our questions, and not come on to Discord, you probably just have to be banned.
I think that's what we gotta do.
But don't worry, you can keep watching us and quietly seething.
Yeah.
You always have that option available to you.
Also, fuck you, asshole.
Hate them, and they don't support people who have their opinions, and that's why in a lot of ways we lose. And when we lose things like freedom of speech and our First Amendment right, everybody loses. And I hope that a lot of people on the left are going to wake up to that reality too. When we lose freedom
Once again, if you're gonna say wokeism is bad, stop saying wake up.
Yes, please, please. If you're going
Use
to make
a different figure of
yes,
speech.
if you're gonna make woke into a slur,
Don't say wake up.
use a different metaphor. You fucking jackasses.
speech. You lose freedom of speech. You will be next. It will not last. Eventually, there is
They're
a
coming
new
for
enemy,
you.
and as soon as they are done with us, they will go to you. That is how this
And
endless...
just for the record, once we're done with conservatives, we won't go to anyone else.
No.
Once the conservatives are defeated and powerless,
We'll
all just
hang out and smoke a bowl.
We'll
I
all
don't
just
know.
party and get stoned and fuck forever. We won't move on to
We'll
anyone
just
else.
have a great
Once
rest
the
of our
fascists,
lives.
if the fascists are thwarted, we'll just fucking sit in a
Party.
kiddie pool and drink cocktails.
He sent you 10 messages now. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yes, Vladivig, indeed. That is not the order people get taken.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
This fucking guy. Well, Coco Loco, you can still join the Discord.
Yeah,
or
actually, Coco Loco, if you're feeling brave all
you're
of a
banned
sudden.
from our chat because fuck you. But you can join the Discord and tell us to fuck ourselves with your voice. I hope you
Yeah,
want
we'd
that
love
opportunity.
to talk to you. Don't you want the opportunity
To tell us to fuck off?
You can insult us to our faces.
The power dynamic is weird here, where we can tell you like to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, like don't you want some
Don't you want to
power?
be able to say it back?
Don't you want to get on an even playing field with
Don't
us? Come
Don't
on.
you want to tussle? Like, don't, or you know.
Or you just want to sit there in the shadows and let us call you a fucking stupid asshole. Up to
I
you.
don't know. Coward.
Yes.
cycle of authoritarian and totalitarian belief works.
She said
They don't want-
authoritarian, totalitarian twice.
Yeah, they're just buzzwords.
want power or dominion over just one
She hates
side. They want
buzzwords.
dominion over everybody. And you might think that you're safe because they're espousing the views that you happen to have, but sooner or later, they will be knocking at your door as well and censoring
And
you off.
offering you a bag of free food from the community garden.
Yeah,
So I'm just so happy to see what is going on. And
They'll
I
be
think that's where we're
knocking
going to
on
close
your
out the
door.
PragerU stream for today. So if you're watching on
lovely jar of
PragerU
milk.
on
Yes.
YouTube or Facebook, head over to Amala Epinobi, /unapologetic. It's in the description down below. We'll also link it in the chat. And we're going to continue our discussion over there. We're going to be talking about what the left has left to use in their arguments for their ideology, what we think their next move is.
All our arguments have been like pretty much the same for years and years, decades.
Yeah, because we're consistent.
Because we're right.
Because we have consistent moral and ethical values.
Yeah.
We believe in humanity thriving. Period.
Yeah, and to frame as though like now leftists are going to pivot to new arguments.
We don't pivot.
When that's all right wingers do is pivot and move the goalposts.
Well, they did it on this fucking thing. I told you. After that moment, everything she says is bullshit because she said like, well, Sean King can't say these things. And now,
Yeah.
under Elon's rule, he really can't say these things because free speech will reign supreme. I was like, what the fuck are you
now
guys
that
talking
now that free
about?
speech reigns supreme, this leftist I don't like will be silenced.
It's
Hooray!
just like so fucking stupid. Oh! Oh! Wow!
What a stupid coward. What are you trying to do?
What the fuck?
What a strange little man.
I don't
Seriously, Replica Fox.
I don't understand how these people. Well, you know, it's funny because he's not like a real person. Like this is at this point, if you say shit like, "Oh, if you give me your social security number, I'll go on the Discord." Like you have to be trolling. It's
Yeah.
not real.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these people actually believe in any of these things.
Yeah, it's usually you can tell in their behavior.
Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna report him.
Yeah.
100%. Him or her or them, I don't know.
Guessing him.
Yeah, me too.
I think we've
I'm
talked
making a,
with them
a
before.
guess.
and
It's not their
established-
first time here.
Yeah, no.
Good. Thank you, Eric.
Good work, Eric.
If you're gonna troll, just come on the Discord. Tell me to fuck myself.
We
See, what
love
I
it. We'll
think,
eat it up.
what I'm thinking
Call us
now.
ugly
You're right.
shithead
It's not him. It's
fuckers.
he. Pronouns are he. But wait, my educated guess is that this is a probably a child.
Probably.
Who sounds like a child. And I think a lot of the time they're children who have the voices of children.
Right.
And they don't want to come on here talking to people in their 20s, 30s, 40s who, you know, sound like adults. And then they're like, but I don't like, you know, gay people. Like, you know, I think that's a part of it.
Right. Or they're just, they need the crutch of being in chat. They need to be able to copy paste other people's arguments.
Of course.
Whatever else. And they know that if they came on the Discord, they'd have to speak in real time and they would not look great. Sometimes people lie to avoid cancel culture.
Yeah, okay. You block him yourself. We're gonna report him as well. We've had a few people who, like, followed us so that they could definitely speak in our chats. Here, I'm gonna report him from mine, too. Where is he?
Ragnats.
What did Ragnat say?
Said, I'm only powerful when I'm an anonymous 12-year-old voice cussing people out in Call of Duty.
People in the chat asking for personal information. Okay. So we've done our due diligence.
Yeah.
Everybody block him if you don't want him around. Don't even entertain him asking for personal information.
Yeah. And the invitation is open, Loco Coco
Oh,
Hee Hee.
yeah. Is that Mr. Super Straight? Is that who that was?
Maybe. I'm not sure if it's the same
Maybe
guy.
it's a different guy. We've had a lot of these people.
Yes. But again, and to all of these people, invitation's open. If anyone ever wants to come on Discord and actually, you know, put your voice in public and actually discuss things with us. We're open to it.
It's just, and leave our fucking followers
leave
and
the other-
people in our chat alone.
What the hell?
What the hell? You're a baby.
So cowardly.
Yeah, exactly. Fox, I always appreciate when you can and do.
Okay, let's hear her last
Yeah,
dumb
her
thing. She's
stupid
almost done.
closing segment.
And really, can they win at this point with everything going on? Plus, what do we have in common as individuals in these representing these different sets of
Why do you
values?
care?
So head over to my channel, Lepanobi, and we're
Wait,
going to
representing different sets of values?
Wait, I thought you wanted to cancel
I thought you wanted a society with no values. To leave the values out of it.
Cancel values.
And now we have different sets of values?
Yeah, why didn't you just... Yeah. Learn what words mean.
Please.
Again.
Please.
discuss that. Okay, guys.
The parade of stupid has concluded.
Yikes.
Yikes, 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 yikes.
Yikes,
That was
yikes.
a bunch of
That was a
completely
big
stupid
fucking
nonsense.
yikes.
PragerU, pretty dependable in that department. How
Yeah?
are you feeling?
Oh,
You've
you
done
know,
quite a
it's-
run of
this
propaganda.
shit is exhausting.
It is wild.
Do we want to take a break? Do we want to say peace out for the day? What are we thinking? That was infuriating, Ragnats. Like, I expect these things to be funnier than they are, and then, like, she really threw me for a loop.
Well, yeah, and just when they keep making the same stupid
cyclic,
argument
yeah.
again and again and
Yeah,
again
yeah,
and
yeah,
contradict
yeah.
themselves every time, it's just like,
How
what do you say?
they have their, like, 2 talking points. Oh, here's the comments.
Oh, that's an idea, Ragnats. We could play a little, yeah, oh, what, do you want to do, I've been thinking, like, since I'm doing Batman at the beginning of the day, you should get a little Spyro in at the end of the day, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Guys, I have to tell you something. I accidentally am almost done with Spyro. Sorry, I played for like 5 hours the other day.
Okay, well then finish it on here.
Okay.
So let's take a break. Let's take a
Yeah, we'll take a...
5 or 10. What do you think?
Do we want to eat? 10?
It's a 10. So we'll be back at 4:32.
And we'll talk about
4:33,
this.
let's say.
We blocked reported piece of shit
Yeah.
asshole.
Coco Loco.
Hopefully his channel gets banned and he shuts up forever.
It seems pretty likely that it will.
And yeah, let's all go out for drinks on Casey. Hey, I like this idea.
All right. Mile high for everybody. Or I'm sorry, High Life. I've got it wrong.
Yeah. If any
High
come
life
while we're
for
away,
everybody.
defend the fort. I'm gonna put it.
But also Mile High for everybody.
I'm gonna schedule an ad break for during the commercial break because that's cool.
Let's all drink 40 ounces and fuck on airplanes.
Woo!
Okay, we'll be back at 4:33. See you
See you at
shortly.
4:33.